All hope is not lost. xCloud could still come to other devices. At least that's what these court documents say as of August 2020. Let's talk about the news that's come out of the court case. Epic versus Apple. It has been epic. I'm sorry. But anyway, let's get into the news. So basically, we've talked about this before on my channel where we talked about xCloud possibly coming to the Nintendo Switch, right? As of August 2020, there have been some court documents released, and the long and the short of it was a conversation between Epic and Phil Spencer at Xbox, and I believe it was Tim Sweeney and Phil Spencer. And there's one line in particular that sort of points some hope, paints some hope still for this picture. On August 2020, Phil Spencer said, "But I did want to just let you know that I have your point on xCloud on other consoles, haven't given up." So basically, he's probably talking about a few different platforms. Obviously, the Switch is the one that the story has been about and rumored. So August 2020, that's potentially not dead yet. And then, of course, there is the PlayStation. Who knows what's going to happen there? As we know, Microsoft has continued playing nice, at least publicly talking about this stuff. And when you read just into the full message, this was at a time when Epic was trying to get Phil Spencer and Xbox on board. And Phil responded to his initial email saying, "I owe you a bunch of things and I'm behind. I apologize for that. Just a lot going on, but that's not an excuse. You've obviously seen our Samsung announce and now our back and forth with Apple. At the highest levels of Microsoft, we are committed to pushing on these policies and continuing to expand our console platforms capabilities. You can chime in as you feel comfortable, but I did want to let you know that I have your point on xCloud on other consoles, haven't given up, free to play outside of gold. We will get there, and I want to partner with you. And our store entitlement ideas as items I'm going to review with you to make progress. I'm committed to that just behind. Hope you are well." That was August 6, 2020. And what's really, really interesting is just seeing these candid conversations between these monolithic megaton companies. It's really, really eye-opening about the differences in how they communicate. We talked about the Sony story yesterday, and Sony basically saying, "Hey, if you want to launch your game on our system and on other systems, you got to pay us a royalty." Now, a lot of people pointed out, "Oh, that's just business." Okay, it's just business. I don't think it's good business. I think there's a better way to do it, and I and a lot of other people reacted pretty negatively to that. So I think it's pretty justifiable to sort of call them out and say, "Hey, this seems not cool." And everybody called them out for it when it was happening, when it was the PS4 era, and they wouldn't let Fortnite have crossplay. That has since changed, obviously, and it seems like Epic is paying for offering that ability for consumers. So seeing these emails from Phil Spencer, call me whatever you want. Look, I read these emails and I'm like, these are very nice emails, right? These aren't somebody strong arming somebody else to get a few extra bucks because they want to offer services to their community, basically, right? So this is one Phil Spencer responding to Tim Sweeney. One of these conversations were about getting rid of Xbox Live's requirement to play games like Fortnite, free-to-play games, which they have since done. So it's interesting to see these emails and talk about the hope of xCloud, for example, coming to other consoles, because there's a lot of stuff in these emails that prove that they were working towards something like this inclusion. So maybe there is still an announcement in the future with E3 right around the corner. Who knows? Maybe this won't be as exciting as the other stuff, hopefully, but just an additional feather in their cap, so to speak. So here's what they say about Fortnite. Fortnite going big, and this is him responding to Tim Sweeney. Tim's basically saying, "Man, we got all this cool stuff coming for Fortnite. We really want Xbox to be there." And I believe they were touring the campus at the time. So Phil Spencer says, "Congrats on the success with Fortnite. I'd love to be a great platform and service for Fortnite, allowing you to reach maximum potential for the game across all devices. I was aware the team was there today, and I instructed them to be supportive of your asks. The stickiest of issues is cross-purchase. I think it's solvable, so I'm not saying this is a blocker, but we do need to work through the scenario with you. You know this, but it's worth stating that compared to PCs and phones, consoles are a very subsidized hardware device. That subsidy obviously relies on software and service sales to recoup the customer acquisition cost of the console. And just to interrupt there, you sort of saw the same thing when Epic was talking about the games that they had to acquire, and they had it broken down by, okay, we acquired this game for $1 million, but this many users signed on, so we paid basically $1.75 per user, because that's what they're paying for at the end of the day. They're paying money to get people to use and fall in love with their services, right? That's what Xbox is doing right now with a lot of their services. And yeah, so just like we wanted to support and did moving Fortnite to free-to-play for the Battle Royale mode, I want to support here a scenario where a free-to-play Fortnite on Xbox results in our digital store's price for Fortnite items being non-competitively priced relative to other cross-purchase platforms is an issue we need to mitigate. So basically it's like, hey, like there is this one point that we need to sort of discuss, figure out like, okay, look, we're going to be priced higher than other people. And this is in 2018. Net is, I want to work through this with you. I wish we had more time to work through the iOS and Android scenario. It sounds like we basically have 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know how we get ahead of this in the future. I think we've been partners on Fortnite, so hopefully we can collaborate on roadmaps more going forward. Unrelated, one thing you should look at is Mixer and Hype Zone on PUBG. We've seen good viewership for Fortnite on Mixer, and we'd love the opportunity to innovate with you there. I'll follow up with the team post-visit, and we'll work through this cool opportunity, Phil. It's just so cordial and nice and refreshing, because yesterday we're looking at all this drama and turmoil and all these like weird business dealings, and today it's like, oh, hey, Tim, how's it going? Yeah, good to see you at the office today. Yeah, we got to figure out, the competitive pricing strategy. It's just such a laissez-faire attitude towards the whole situation. And apparently those documents that I talked about yesterday, the court was like, whoops, we weren't supposed to release those. And they're all worried about the genie being out of the bottle. Well, guess what? Everybody's talking about those stories because it's gross. Like most people don't like them. And then like inversely, we see the Xbox stuff today, and this isn't even the good stuff. So Tom Warren's been covering this over at The Verge, and he's the one where I've been getting a lot of these interesting stories from. And then you scroll down a little bit, and he's saying that tomorrow is going to be the big Xbox day. The Epic versus trial has wrapped for the day. We didn't get to hear from Lori Wright yet, Microsoft's head of business development for Xbox. Business development. That's going to be really interesting to hear what they have to say and what evidence is introduced, because every day it has been interesting evidence. And tomorrow we get to hear from Lori Wright about business dev on Xbox. Right will now be questioned tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, we're opening with more Xbox stuff. There's probably going to be more Xbox news. And largely, there was actually one more thing I wanted to talk about, and it was about the update to Microsoft reducing pricing for developers on their platform. The rumor was they were going to cut it to them only getting a 12% cut and developers getting 88%, right? So they were going to do that, but they updated the story, and a Microsoft spokesperson told The Verge, we have no plans to change the revenue share for console games at this time, in a statement to The Verge on Saturday before issuing a clearer statement on Sunday. We will not be updating the revenue split for console publishers, says a Microsoft spokesperson. Microsoft still refuses to answer whether the document is inaccurate or simply that plans changed. Well, I have to imagine that the document's not inaccurate. It's a court document. You're not going to submit weird falsified evidence that doesn't really bolster your claim or whatever. And I mean, yeah, it's a court document, so it would just be odd that question would be asked, unless I'm confused and this is something that was released separate from that. Anyway, that's not what the story that I want to talk about. The story I want to talk about is in the email where they're talking about bringing xCloud to other platforms, right? And now we have it on iOS. We have it on Windows. So they have brought it to other platforms. That was mentioned in the same breath as Xbox Live Gold being fixed to address free-to-play games. So I think there's still hope for that. Potentially we see it at E3. That's really, really exciting. And I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. It should happen shortly after this video comes out. So I'm going to have stuff to talk about all week, and I'll just keep telling you what I see because it's really, really interesting stuff. Isn't it cool to just sort of see behind the curtain at what actually goes on in the game industry and these big person talks? I think it is. I find it really interesting and compelling. I hope you're excited about the xCloud news. I hope this story made a little bit of sense to you. I've talked about a lot of different topics and sort of went all over. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this late night rambling content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, even though I stumble over my words sometimes because I'm talking too fast. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed. We are probably going to hit 50,000 subs very, very soon. That's nuts. You got to remember, when I started making these videos, we were at 20, and now we're at almost 50. We're like a couple hundred people away from 50. So by the end of the week, wow, like that's just nuts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to the supporters, the people who've joined using memberships on YouTube. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody watching. If you want to be a member, you can just click that join button, by the way. If you want to just watch the video. That's all you got to do. That's great too. Thank you. I'm so humbled and grateful, and I'm just making this video longer than it needs to be to say thank you to everybody. But thank you. I'll see you for the next one. Bye, everybody.